What's up, guys? Justin Morgan here, King of Carbs, and I am bringing you another video. We're talking about comparing just general hard work versus a more scientific, cerebral approach to lifting, strength, muscle, that kind of thing. And yesterday I shared actually it wasn't yesterday, it was a couple of days ago. It was supposed to be yesterday. But I shared a quote from my good friend Scott Shetler, who has a YouTube channel, and he is a coaches some fairly high-level athletes, and he's a member of the Plant Built team as well. And he is currently doing a strength series. For some of you guys might be interested in it. But I shared a quote that he had told me once, and it was, "I don't need a study to tell me that getting hit in the balls hurts." And I like that. But it kind of sets up this video pretty well, because a lot of us, when we take kind of a more cerebral approach to lifting and to, even nutrition and things like that, it does kind of set you up to want to always confirm everything with a study. But if you want to call this a study, this is more of an observation on my part, and that is that a lot of the best lifters out there that we've seen don't follow the principles that have been laid out when we look at research that indicates that this way of training is better than another. Ed Coan's a good example. There are things that I try to draw from lifters that have competed at a really high level. I try to look at commonalities amongst them, and I look at their training. I look at a lot of different aspects of what they did that caused them to be some of the strongest people in the world. But when I look at Ed Coan's training, it does not follow like the high frequency paradigm that I think generally kind of plays into a lot of what I personally practice. He kind of seemed like he was more of a train the bench one time a week, train the deadlift one time a week, train the squat one time a week, and it was more of that type of thinking. Where there were some commonalities, like over the course of his career, I think his training volume definitely increased over time. For no other reason than just because the weights simply got heavier. But, he did more sets, more total work overall. So he put more effort in towards the end of his career than he did at the beginning. And that is most certainly something that is easily implemented for me in doing a more practicing higher frequency lifting. But I guess my thing is that the biggest thing that I observe from a lot of the higher level lifters, drugs and things aside, is that they work hard. And it seems like the harder work or, more overall work being put in seems to lend itself to getting better progress. And that's regardless of rep range, regardless of frequency in doing the lifts throughout the week, regardless of even nutrition type principles or things that myself as a dietitian would be like highly interested in. Training overall and training volume and work seems to be the biggest indicator. So it's really not a matter of the new fancy routine that's out or any of that. It's kind of adapting and growing over the course of your career as a lifter. Now, that's kind of all the ideas that I've shared. I'm going to go into some more personal aspects if you guys are interested in continuing to listen. But when I was interested in doing some of the higher frequency, like daily squatting, the John Bros kind of inspired, Bulgarian concepts that, I'm a fan of, then I started looking around. I wanted to know what some of, other people said about it. I wanted to know if there was negative things being said about it, and I found some. Mike Tuchscherer did not seem to be a big fan of, like, the concepts of daily squatting or doing this really high, what he would describe as high volume. For me, it's really not all that high volume because I only do like 3 total heavy sets a day. So, it's not really a tremendously high amount of volume. I definitely have a lot of room to grow over the next few years as my career, rapidly comes to an end at some point, because I got started in powerlifting. Well, I got started lifting in general when I was almost 31. So I'm probably not going to have as long of a career as somebody that started at 18. But when he's kind of looking at the total life of a career, he's saying that you probably don't want to go to that style of training because you'll end up minimizing the amount of progress. That's you'll get a lot of progress all at one time, which is great, but then he's kind of suspicious or throwing out there that might actually shortcut your ability to progress long term, because your body will adapt to the high training volume that you're going into, and as a result you probably won't be able to continue to progress over the course of your career. And I kind of took that and I stepped back and thought, well, geez, maybe this isn't such a good practice for me. Maybe I shouldn't do that, because I do want to have a long career. And then at some point, I kind of realized, I'm already old. I'm already older than Mike Teixeira is by several years. Mike, by the first day I picked up a weight to start really training, Mike Teixeira had already, competed at IPF Worlds and done a lot of stuff. So to put myself in that bracket, I probably should go for, the higher training volumes and, get as much of my progress in now as I can, because as I get older, how long am I going to be able to do this? How long am I going to be putting, 500 and 600 pounds on my back and squatting down with it? Not that I squat 600 pounds yet, but, I'm getting close to 500, and I most certainly plan on going past 600 at some point. But, that's just kind of like an idea of thinking in that way. I've already surpassed that age, so I'm probably going to have a limited amount of time in my career where I'm interested in this. I mean, there's most certainly some that go, well, I mentioned Ed Cohn earlier. I think he's, getting close to 60, maybe he's in his 60s, I'm not sure. But he's still competing as a powerlifter. He still comes out occasionally, not as frequently as he did when he was, in his 20s and 30s, but, now that he's, up in age, he still comes out several times and competes in something a year because he loves it, because he enjoys doing it. It's something he enjoys. So, I don't know. But then, on the other hand, I look at John Brose, and John Brose's argument to that style of thinking is that a weightlifter, who he primarily trains Olympic weightlifters, they're going to have a limited career. They're probably going to be done by the 30s, so he wants them to get to their peak level of strength and performance prior to that age so that they can excel to the highest level that they possibly can during their career. So those are just some of my thoughts on comparing the overall aspects of science versus just general hard work and lifting in the gym as it applies to muscle growth and weightlifting. You guys take it easy, and I'll talk to you in that next video.